Have you ever felt?
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Mike and Mike Show, the very first episode of the Mike and Mike Show, where we talk about anything goes. Today we have best-selling author Beau Henderson from Atlanta, Georgia. He's president and CEO of the Rich Life Group, best-selling author, and hosts a nationally syndicated Rich Life radio show from Atlanta to California. Beau, your book last year, the last 2 years, you've sold over 10,000 copies. Welcome aboard. Thanks for joining us and taking the time out of your busy schedule. What is new with you?
Hey, Michael. It's really exciting, and thank you. I'm excited to be on the kickoff episode of the Mike and Mike Show. So thanks for having me. And anytime you want to talk about success with money in life or living rich, you know I'm going to show up. So thank you.
You know, your book, richlifebook.com, it's coming out, but there's a lot of American families whose finances are jacked up. Their kids' finances are jacked up. They go to college, they come out with debt. What are you finding out there? Is there any hope to heal this situation and fix this situation? What's going on?
You know, Michael, I'm glad you asked that question exactly like you did, because what I found in working with over 3,000 clients and doing this for 15 years now is more so than a financial problem, what we have in this country is an education problem. So what we can do is make sure we get the education to people so we can break some of these cycles, because what's happening right now is we have the fourth generation that has more debt and less saving than their parents, and that's something we've been really big on. We've been going into the school systems to see if we can help break these cycles and turn some of this around. It's not that people aren't doing things because they're just being negligent. A lot of times people just don't know what to do.
Now, you mentioned going into the school systems. That's a big passion of mine. I raised 4 sons. I mean, our educational system, you know, a lot of people complain it's jacked up, but you're actually making a positive difference. Why don't you tell us about what you're actually doing, and then tell us why did you get in this whole Rich Life movement? What's going on with that?
Sure. Let me talk about the education and the school system. When I realized why I wrote the book, The Rich Life, 10 Investments for True Wealth, about a third of it is financial principles. The rest are life principles to be successful with life and money. And just like having the right principles can make us successful as adults with both life and money, something that was a passion for me is, as you said, in school, we don't get, unless you're a finance major in college, we don't get basic financial education. So something we did is we partnered with national organizations like Junior Achievement, the Boys and Girls Club.
Great organization. I love that group.
Right.
Yeah.
And we go into the school systems. And I have a goal here in Atlanta that we're going to go get this financial literacy and personally present to 10,000 kids this year. And I want that to grow exponentially each year. And I didn't even put this on the Rich Life book page, but every book somebody gets, they're basically sponsoring me getting a financial literacy book and packet to the kids to take home and work on this and really get this education.
richlifebook.com. Guys, you can go there right now. I know you're doing about 50 radio interviews over the next few weeks. Why don't you talk a little bit about the book launch? What are the free gifts? I mean, you're giving away the farm here. I don't know how you can afford to do it, but richlifebook.com. Why don't you talk about it?
So let me give some context around the mission. So the Rich Life, after about 8 or 9 years of being a financial advisor and doing what I was taught to do when I came into the industry, and probably what the other 1,000 guys in this city do, or in any city, I was burnt out and I was ready for a change. And about that time, through certain clients and certain events, I realized that maybe my role was to help people get crystal clear on what made their life meaningful and what lit them up, and then let's utilize their assets and resources to be congruent with that. And when I started connecting with that, that's when the whole Rich Life movement began. And over the last 7-8 years, we've doubled business a few times, but not just that. At this point, I do this and share this message. I could not do it, if that makes sense, meaning why I'm giving the book away is I want it to get into as many hands as possible and help people stop sleepwalking through life and wake up and live that meaningful life. So,
You know, Bo, I think you're touching a lot of lives at richlifebook.com. You know, see our college students getting out of, student loan debt. They're getting credit cards shipped to them before they graduate high school, graduate college. You know, how well are we doing as savers? You know, how are Americans compared to the rest of the world in saving? We're about halfway through the show, and I know at the end you're going to give your top 5 list, but, you know, what are you seeing? What should we be concerned about? And how can me as a parent, how can I, as a student that's 22 years old, fresh out of college, make a change, stop the bleeding?
No, good point, and a lot, you're right. The way, typically, if without the principles or without having this education, we do what we saw our parents do. Not that that's a bad thing. That's a great thing if our parents were very wealthy and taught us great money principles, but that's not most of us, right?
Exactly. My dad retired the day after he turned 65. Kudos to him. Top 5%. My parents were savers, though. I mean, they didn't go out to eat. They didn't, take lavish vacations they couldn't afford. They didn't put things on credit cards.
Well, and what I found is if we can find ways to make this a family event, and a lot of parents are not trying to educate their kids because there's some shame around. They don't know what to do.
Shame. That's a big thing right there. Money and shame. I think you just hit a jugular vein. I think you hit a nerve. I think money and shame, you really touched on something right there. How is richlifebook.com with the new book coming out? Give us a little forecast of what people can expect to change their paradigm and why they need to get this book, why they need to get it now and not wait 6 months or a year.
Well, that's right. And what I did was I tried to make an offer so that it was just a no-brainer. Go to richlifebook.com. I laid out a workbook that's not just taking you through the philosophy and the exercises. Everybody says I agree with the things in the book. I want you to work through them, walk through them, and leave with a plan to be successful with money, but even more importantly, your life. And that's the key.
Well, you know, Bo, we got a couple minutes left. Give us your top 5. What's your, the format here on the Mike and Mike show? Nice mic, by the way. It's a requirement to be on the Mike and Mike show. You must have a Beau Henderson Rich Life professional microphone.
That's right.
Give us your top 5 list. What's your top 5 list for our listeners to take away to help them have a rich life?
On the money side, first thing is build a proper foundation. Growing up, again, the way I was taught to be a financial advisor was completely backwards, and unfortunately, that's what's wrong with our industry. Is there's a focus on the sexy things like stocks and options and all the things that are fun and exciting, and it's great in the right context. But if we're building the middle of our house or putting up the walls before we have the right foundation, it's all at risk. So that's number 1. Number 2 is spend some time building your all-star team. And that includes your financial advisor, who's doing your taxes, typically your CPA, your attorney. And a good clue for people, how do I find this all-star team, is find that first person, interview, find that first person that you really trust and connect with, and they're probably going to have those other pieces to connect you to. And the bonus of that is they all communicate with each other, right? Number 3, this is where we start getting a little off of the finances. Focus on what's most important. I can't tell you how many times people focused on climbing the career ladder or getting to this position at work or buying this thing. And what really opened my eyes, and I was very blessed to meet with a ton of clients while I was still very young, is what I realized what the world sells us from marketing and the things we see and what we typically believe is different from what people that had lived a long, happy life were telling me that it was about. Those meaningful relationships that they had in their lives, investing in those relationships, take care of those relationships, because if you don't have those, you can very well end up miserable. The next, number 4, I would say make sure you're investing in creating memorable experiences right now, not when I make $1 million, not when I can retire, today. And somebody might say, Michael, they might say, well, I don't have much money, I can't take this fancy trip. Sometimes the simplest experiences don't cost much at all. Some of my best memorable experiences are my dad coaching me in football when I was 6, 7, 8, 9 years old.
Exactly. We got 30 seconds left. What's number 5?
Number 5, last one. You can choose to live rich now. It's not a destination. It's that we make the choice to find our richness is in the journey, and we're not looking for a destination, right? So that's the key to living a rich life.
Beau, that was great stuff. How do people find you? Where do you want to find you at?
Well, I think the way to interact and the cheapest way, I can't do anything cheaper than free. Now, all we do is we do ask you pay shipping and handling, but I'll send you the book, the workbook. We're doing a 10-week course to make sure we kick off 2015 and really have the foundation for our life and financial plan in place to hit all those goals I know everybody has going into the new year. So richlifebook.com, and we'll go from there. I can find we can connect with everyone.
Beau, thank you so much. It was great having you on the Mike and Mike Show, the inaugural broadcast. Stay tuned. Follow Beau at richlifebook.com. Check him out. Get his book. Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be a fun 2015. What are your goals? Create a rich life. We got 50 awesome guests lined up in the coming weeks. Stay tuned. This is Rapid Fire Mike on the Mike and Mike Show, where anything goes.
Have you ever felt?
Are you